Are we okay to go? Awesome. Thank you very much, Ben. Yeah! And thank you to Rich and for Anna to welcome me to Farnham in Art and Clay. So the thing that I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how to make a full-size head using slabs of clay. I taught ceramics, I taught sculpture, I taught painting, I taught fine art, I taught art history, you name it, I taught it. So this is what I start with. I'm going to just make a head because it's easier. So start with the shoulders. That's it. So I'm going to make the shoulders using slabs of clay. What I'm doing is I'm just using this part of my finger for the camera to then just nudge and push the clay together on the inside and on the outside. Or actually, this is a good thing for the boring part. This is a start of one of my sketchbooks. So if you'd like to have a look through there and pass it round. So, if it's too wet, it's too floppy, and if it's too dry, it's too hard. But it really. I rolled it out this morning at, was it, Anna, 8:30? 9 o'clock this morning. I'm going to try and slow it down. What I do is I want the gesture of the marks in the clay, so I make really fast. I get bored very, very quickly, and I really like the gesture of it. Do that. And so when I slowed down initially, when I started to make, it became really still and quiet and almost emotionless, and I want that emotion from my hands to go into the clay. So that's why I make fast. And sometimes, so I like to make fast in short bursts. So it's really going for it now. So I have no armatures. It's all about understanding the weight. So if it starts to slump, what I do is I get my hand and I just stroke it from the inside, like that. So this bit here, starting to have a dent. I'm deciding whether it's the front and the back. And I'm just going to push it out like that. And because it's finger thickness, so it's like a finger, I think that's a technical term. I'm really good at technical, by the way. Technical term, finger thickness. Or if you've got really, really thin, slender fingers like I haven't, thumb thickness. Okay? I can't stand going back to then scoop out and, and push things on and think that it's going to explode. I can't stand that. If I'm going to make a piece of artwork, I want it to survive. And I want it to be happy. Right. This is the most brilliant tool ever in the history of the universe. Okay, we're going to use this to be able to reach those places that no one else can. Not little ears. So if something sort of goes in a bit, like if you start having a bit of a thing, you can get this magic tool and then just push it out again. Okay, so then it's just understanding about the weight as well. So this is the back of the neck. Back of the neck has a fan of muscle here and here. So this bit has to come up a bit more, and this bit has to come up a bit more. I've done a lot of life drawing. I used to teach life drawing a lot. So this bit here has got, we've got some. Sorry, I just didn't flick that then. We've got some of these collarbones here, there, that then join onto those balls of clay here. It's almost like giving it a bit of a massage. Okay. So I'm now focusing on the neck. So most students, or most people when they first started making a sculpture, is that they think that the head goes up. Sorry. Let me do this. Up like that and then out like that. So like a lollipop, but actually that's wrong. We've got muscle goes from this collarbone up to the back of our ears and then it goes, to that. We've got a straight up and down head really, and then there's a ball here, and then there's a chin on the bottom, there's a jaw that comes out. What I like to do is I like to sit down and sneakily draw people when they're not looking. So I go to a coffee shop sometimes and I notice features. So I don't want it to look like an actual person that, but I want it to become more of the feeling, the gesture, the emotion, it's about the art. So yeah, I'm after the emotion and the story of the piece of art, rather than the actual representation of a person. It's really funny when you look at it on a screen, and I look at it with my own eyes. It's very different. Or if the chin is like too long, it's all about the weight. So if I press down on here, you can see that bit is the weakest point. So I need to maybe sometimes, and only for sometimes, and just to show you, what you do is you put one of those on, like that, and then you just chop it away, or before it goes into the kiln. You can do whatever you want with clay. That's the whole beauty of it, isn't it? There are no rules. I'm mostly interested in using clay as a fine art material. I like the idea to be the main focus. So at this point, we're starting to come to the best bit. Okay, so this is not the boring bit. This is like the nicest bit. So now I sit and I go, right, who are you? Are you male? Are you female? Are you old? Are you young? And I have a conversation. And then I notice that there's an expression. And I think about all of those like woodland sort of experiences I have, with my dog, my smelly dog, and my kids, and all of that stuff, that idea. I look at my sketchbook. Have you seen the sketchbook? That's the start of a new one. And then I start and think about who this being, because it is a being to me. I get into my mind, and it's brilliant. And this is the best thing about being an artist, I think. But essentially it needs a nose and eyes and mouth. So I measure it, like so. Put like a rough thing down here. Can you see it on here, or do you want me to turn it round? Turn it round. Okay. I'll do that. And then that's one eyeball. That's another eyeball. Okay. Get in there. Okay. Chin. So I'm pushing in. You see it on there, just about. So that's where the chin is. That's the bottom chin there. Bottom chin, and then you've got. Can you see that now those bits? I'm going to do it that way, and it happens really quick. Okay, so that's the bottom. That's the bottom chin. That's the bottom lip. Can you see that? Yeah. Okay. So bottom chin, bottom lip. So because we've got that, we now know where the cheeks are. And you can see it start to come to life. And I'm going to do this over here, just because it's interesting, I think. So this bit now becomes the top lip. I really have to. I'm going to try and slow it down. Sorry. So that's the mouth. Okay. Yep. It's pretty grumpy at the moment. And then this is the nose. That's the one bit of nose. Okay. Okay. And then because we've got these bits, those bits now have to do that. Just give it a little bit of a tweak. So that's the one bit. So it's really easy, isn't it? It's just really easy. And because it's really easy to show you because we've all got faces. We all know what a face looks like. But I look at this and I go, that's not quite right. That's not quite right. But so then what I've got to do, I'm going to put my finger in here, and then I'm going to squeeze that bit. That bit then becomes the bridge of the nose, and that bit then becomes the cheek. So take bits off, push things. So I'm pushing and pulling, making those bits a bit nicer. Make sure that that nose is nice. No. Yeah, which is why you don't need. There's no weight really. So these are the basic features, and then we need to put ears on. And because the clay's still wet, one ear.
Does this work in any sort of clay?
Porcelain it doesn't. It just flops over. And I have actually experimented with slip casting clay. that was really floppy. That was quite funny. Okay, so those are the basic ears. I'll mould them afterwards and put those on in a minute. So now we've got ears, just about. This head looks a bit small to me, so I'm just going to push this out. Come on in, have a seat. It's just quite a nice informal thing. So ears are on. So let's do some eyes.
Could you spin round?
Yep, sorry. We can talk about expression, and so this is where the expression comes in. You can really sort of start to have a conversation. So I'm casting mind back to the start. I'm in my sculpture, in my workshop. I'm enjoying it. I've got meditation music on. I'm like, hi, who are you? Having a conversation with the clay, sort of just making some little adjustments, making sure that it doesn't look like Herman Munster or anything. Getting the skull, in the right places. Trying to think about what's going on underneath these bits. So I'm thinking about this eye socket and the skull here that's coming up and around, and just making sure that it's not got a flat head or weird angles going on. So now let's do some eyes. So I can't do this without looking at it, so I'll just do it on here. So I make sure that you've got the eyes in. So that they're symmetrical-ish. Okay, so that's the one bit. So I'm just going to use the end of my finger, which is a really good, expensive tool. That bit there. I'm rubbish at any kind of nails. So those are generally the eyes. That's where they're going to be. So there's one sort of eye. So I'm just using my finger. And he looks a bit sleepy, she looks a bit sleepy. Okay, so I'm going to show it over here. So just get my fingers in there, I'm just going to push it out like that. And that's where the eyeball goes in. Let's just make sure it's symmetrical. And then let's just talk about the nose. I'm lying, I do add on a little bit. So I look from here, I look from there, just to make sure that it's definitely sort of kind of semi-symmetrical and in the right place, and the cheekbones are in the right place. So this is when it becomes fatter or thinner, and I have that conversation, and that's when the magic happens. And are you going to have a big nose or a little nose? And what are your ears like? Are they in the right places? So always looking. And then we can do things like this. To make them happier. So just like pushing them like that. Okay. So then it starts to have like a bit of an expression and a bit of character. And then I slow down, and then I have a conversation with it, and then I come up for air and go, and then I put the rest of the head on. Let's talk about the nose. I do actually add a bit of nose if it needs to, so a little tiny ball of clay like this, and then lick it, stick it.
Does it talk back to you?
Sometimes. and it's when I hear it as well sometimes. Let's talk about that. Actually, it's a good question. I know it sounds daft. It might sound daft, but I think we can talk about that. I do think that you have to talk to your art. You have to talk to your clay, and you have to make friends with it. Because if you're not, then what happens is that if you get yourself into, who asked the question? If you get into the mindset that you're angry with it and you're like, frustrated, all of that comes out in your hands and then it doesn't work. If you come to it with anxiousness or I can't do it, or with fear, and you're not its friend, it's like poking your friend all the time. It's just going to get tired and it's just not going to want to play with you. So you have to be calm and have an idea of what it is that you want your clay to do. A favourite art is where you can see the sculpture's hand or the marks. Bless you. So let's talk about ears. Let's do an ear. Let's get him. Oh, yeah, it's a him, isn't it? Looks like a him. Let's get an ear. Put the ear in there. So it's inner here there, and then it goes out like that. That bit joins there. I mean, this is just basic. It's. I'm not after it to be like absolutely representational, and I do really need to look at ears a lot more. My sister told me that they're a bit rubbish. She said, Sharon, I know you can take this, but you need to start looking at ears a bit more. I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm sorry. She's an art teacher. She knows. So that's the gist of an ear, okay? So there's your ears. Interesting thing, we've got some temples. The temples go up here and here. And that is like the smallest part of your head, smallest part of your skull, here and here. And this bit is like the ball of your skull. So I'm just going to put the ball of the skull on now. So that's the back, and then that's it really. But I'm almost nearing the end of it, and I'm going to smash it. So this needs to be on camera as well. Do you want to see the smashing? Does anybody want to film it? But then, let's talk about this as well. As an audience, we've got a relationship with the audience and with the eyes. So when we look at an audience, we always look at the eyes first, if it's a sculpture or a figure. So if you introduce a body, you've also got the audience, the conversation between the audience, the eyes, and the hand. What's the hand doing? It's going over there. So then the audience's eye goes over there. So it's another whole different conversation, which I'm sort of trying to get my head round a little bit. Like this head is becoming cartoon-like. Let's just get a bit of punk rock going on there. Just get a bit of hair on there. So I haven't really looked, but you can see that this is starting to look like he's got a cone head. So I'm just going to turn that into a bit of hair. And then last bit is basically a piece of clay, and then it just gets folded in and squished on. Okay? Thank you very much. Would anybody like to come and take some photographs? Thank you. Are you ready?
Could you be turned around so I can see profile? And the back, and the other profile. Stop it there. And the other profile.
Got one more. Right, ready? Everyone want to cut and record? Oh, that's quite nice. Now we've got Giacometti. Thank you.